to the Cairo Business Mojo podcast, where we deconstruct the methods, marketing, and mindset of successful business people and chiropractors from around the world. And now your host, Dr. Richard Day.
Yes, I am Dr. Richard Day, and this is the Cairo Business Mojo podcast. Thanks so much for spending some of your day with me. I want to take you back in time to about 2009. That is when my wife and I opened our first practice in Colorado. And if you remember, the economy was in the tank at that time. It was a bad time to start a business. In fact, businesses were closing all around. And I graduated, moved back in with Mom and said, "Hello, Mom, I'm here. I need to start a business and I need to save some money. And by the way, what is for dinner?" And so that was the mindset I had. That's where I was coming from. I had to be very careful with my money because I only had about 4 months of life, with the money I had, and I was going to go bankrupt if I didn't start earning within that 4 months. And so we were very fortunate. We worked our butts off, and it happened. But where I was at was I had been open maybe a month, and our office was put together on a shoestring. I was fortunate enough that the tenant finish had been done, so there were some attorneys in there, and they really just moved their stuff out, and we moved our furniture in. We didn't even have to repaint anything. We could not afford any art on the walls, so what we did was we approached local artists and said, in exchange for hanging your art in our office, we are happy to, if it sells, give you 100% of the money, but send people on into our office and they can check it out, and that was really good for us to have people come in our office and figure out, where we are. So around this time, my wife and I were out shopping, and I saw over in the distance a chiropractic office. And I said, let's drive over there and check it out, because I am always wanting to look inside other offices and see what they do and what their offices are like. And so we parked and we got out and we looked in there, and this office was beautiful. It had granite countertops and the big tiles, stonework, on the floor and on the walls. And it had this fountain that, like a weeping wall, this water came down one side of it. And it had a custom-made front counter that was kind of curvy and really cool looking. And the thing just was incredible looking. And right in that instant, I did not like my office anymore. I looked in this thing, and from the outside, it was unbelievable. I knew that there is no way my little office was ever going to compare to what this guy had done. I mean, it was obviously professionally designed. It had things like the Keurig coffee station sitting there, and that's easy enough to afford, right? But the rest of it I could not have afforded. No way. It was just the materials and the cost of construction, all of that. I don't know who paid for this, but this guy actually had a whole lot of money that I didn't have. Well, just the other night, I was sitting there wondering whatever happened to that place. And so I did some Googling, and I found some reviews on it. And Google shows you, the hours of operation for a business, and it said closed permanently. And so I started looking into it and reading some of the reviews, and they were terrible. There were some really bad 1- and 2-star reviews. People did not like the service that this particular person provided. They weren't happy with the care there. They were very eager to tell everybody about it. And, that's how it works. For every 50 good experiences, maybe you're going to get the one guy who had a bad experience, and he's going to be the one that goes and leaves a review, not the other 50 people that loved you. So that is what I found when I looked. And I thought, crazy. That is crazy. Here I was back then from the outside in. This place looked awesome, and I have to admit I was a little jealous of what this guy had. I didn't know him, didn't know anything about him, but I knew his office looked amazing. And I think there's such an important lesson there. You look at other people's lives, you look at what they have, you look at what they own, the car they drive, who their husband is or their wife, and you really do not know from looking inside, from the outside, what it's really like. Is it really fantastic? Is it what it seems? Recently, Brad and Angelina, they split up. From the outside, they're both gorgeous people and they're movie stars and they're rich and what a life and everything. But obviously it was not all paradise. There are some problems, and we don't know what those are, of course. But, the point is that it is not perfect. Things are not what they seem. So if you're in a position in your practice or in your life and you're looking around at others thinking, gosh, I wish I had what they had. They have the perfect life. I wish I had that car or the success they have in practice. You don't know. If you look at someone who looks like they're really busy, they're a chiropractor and they're seeing, 40, 50, 60 a day. Well, how much support staff are they paying for? How much overhead do they have? How much debt do they have? Do they owe on all the equipment that they have there? You don't know. But that's the point. You don't know. So don't feel jealous or competition with that sort of thing, because you shouldn't. Most importantly, you shouldn't feel bad about yourself. I came away after looking inside that practice thinking, okay, well, I'll go back to my little practice and, maybe one day I can have something this nice. And here I am this many years, and I have that practice that we opened in 2009 is still there, and we have another practice that is going as well. And, the practice we own out there in Colorado is booming now. It's booming. And you compare that to the guy who's not there anymore and has all of the negative reviews. His granite countertops are not helping him today. His Keurig machine is probably sitting on his kitchen countertop at home. And I am so proud today of the way things have worked out for us. And I look at everything now, the way things are in my life, and I say there is no reason I should have felt bad at all about the office that I opened in 2009. So whatever you're feeling, whatever's going on with you today, if you're looking around saying, I need to be better, do it not because you're jealous of somebody or you think they have something incredible that you wish you had. What you have is incredible. It's got potential. If it's not where you want it to be now, it's going to get there. Remember that. Don't feel bad. Don't compare yourself to what others are doing, because you really don't know what that is. I hope this has been helpful to you. Thanks so much again for listening. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Thanks for listening to the Chiro Business Mojo podcast at www.chirobusinessmojo.com.